Democrat Jamie Raskin dog whistles calling for violence against Clarence Thomas. You might think that's a ridiculous statement to make. I'll make my case on that in just a minute. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug Tenaple. This is where the happy patriots are, and I want to wish you all a very happy new year. Come on in, give us a subscribe, join my people. First comes this headline: Justice Thomas should absolutely recuse himself from the Trump ballot access decision, says a Democrat lawmaker. This is from CNN. This is about Jamie Raskin is saying that first that Clarence Thomas should recuse himself regarding these state ballot issues as Colorado goes up to the Supreme Court because they tried to take Trump's name off the ballot. As Maine goes up to the Supreme Court, he's saying, well, Clarence Thomas should definitely recuse himself.
They're deciding for themselves, again, whether they're in violation of their code of ethics. But
just to put some context on this, Jamie Raskin's talking about how the Supreme Court gave themselves a code of ethics because they're trying to avoid submitting the Supreme Court to Congress. That is one branch of government that is absolutely, obviously supposed to be autonomous. And he wants oversight to be done in Congress, which I think is unconstitutional, but that's what he's advocating for.
Anybody looking at this in any kind of dispassionate, reasonable way would say, if your wife was involved in the big lie and claiming that Donald Trump had actually won.
Jamie Raskin saying if you're dispassionate, you'd believe that Ginny Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife, that you'd recuse yourself. Suddenly, here's a Democrat going like, and absolutely taking feminism back 100 years, that a married couple just thinks interchangeably. And if Ginny Thomas thinks it, even though she's a unique individual, she's bound by marriage. She is now one with Clarence Thomas. When have you ever heard a Democrat say that? Is that true? Is Hillary Clinton guilty of everything that Bill Clinton has done? Is Joe Biden the same as Jill Biden? Are not these separate people? And are we going to go into all the other Supreme Court justices, Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown, Jackson? Are we going to go into all of their spouses? Because some of them are married to radical spouses. And now, we have to flush them all out.
The presidential election had been agitating for that and participating in the events leading up to January 6th, that you shouldn't be participating.
So he should recuse himself.
He should. Oh, he absolutely should recuse himself. The question is, what do we do if he doesn't recuse himself?
What does that mean? What should we do if he doesn't recuse himself? I'll play it again.
He should. Oh, he absolutely should recuse himself. The question is, what do we do if he doesn't recuse himself?
That is a dog whistle call for someone to do something about this if he doesn't recuse himself. He absolutely should recuse himself. The question is, what do we do if he doesn't recuse himself? What does he mean by that? What are you going to do to Clarence Thomas, Democrat Raskin? What are you going to do? Are you calling on more of your lunatic friends to come and take him out?
The question is, what do we do if he doesn't recuse himself?
Trump said far less than that. And he's being claimed to have started an insurrection, take responsibility enough to cancel him off of ballots. Trump has not said anything this close to even a tease toward violence, which Raskin just now did. We also already have Chuck Schumer with the same thing going to Kavanaugh saying,
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price.
And then some lunatic shows up at his house, a shooter showed up at his house trying to assassinate him. So Democrats are used to this. I just want to let you know, they always say that Republicans and supremacists and all that stuff are the key to launching violence. We have almost no record of violence. The actual violence comes from the body count on Black Lives Matter on that George Floyd riot is at least 5 times higher than what happened on J6. Remember, it was also Democrats. Remember, who shot Ronald Reagan? What other president has had an assassination attempt on him? 0. Ronald Reagan, last one. It's the Democrats. Oh, Steve Scalise was shot by a left-wing lunatic following their orders. So all of their claims of violence initiated by the right are false. all of the left, they know the dog whistle. They know they have a lot more lunatic Democrats who would take a shot at someone. And while I actually think their agenda is to get Trump, I think he's a much harder target to go for. If they can get Clarence Thomas, it's easier to get Clarence Thomas, and then they don't have the guy to support Trump and get his name back on the ballot. So they get the same thing. They get to stop Trump from being elected if they can incite one of their Democrat lunatics to show up with a hammer at his house. And just in case you think Jamie Raskin is a sane person, he said this of the Biden administration.
Because the Biden administration is a law-abiding administration, unlike the Trump administration.
Here's Steve Guest on Twitter. The ball game, folks. Democrat want to destroy the Supreme Court. Dem Rep Jamie Raskin says Justice Clarence Thomas absolutely should recuse himself from a decision on Trump's ballot case, saying the question is, what do we do if he doesn't? It'd be a terrible thing if someone did something when he doesn't. John Hassan, Chuck Schumer put a target on Justice Kavanaugh's back prior to the Dobbs ruling, and then someone tried to assassinate Kavanaugh. Now Jamie Raskin is putting the same target on Justice Thomas's back. Remember this, guys. We have to get the word out about this. That's how you stop it from happening, is if you expose their plan so that everyone sees, they go, well, we can't do that plan. Everyone's talking about it. Here's Newsbusters. CNN indulges Rep Raskin's barely veiled threat against Justice Thomas. I'll also note that Jamie Raskin is a white guy intimidating the most accomplished Black American in our history. Just so you guys know, Barack Obama being president was nothing. He was a community organizer. He was a diversity hire. America's guilt put him in office.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
He was not qualified to be president. He was not an intelligent man. He was not a wise man. The guy who really came from dirt. And he was raised in Hawaii by rich elites. The guy who came from dirt is Clarence Thomas. The Black American who came from the lowest place and achieved the highest place based on his own credentials is Clarence Thomas. And that's why Democrats target him. They want him back on the plantation. They're all, you stepped out of line. And Clarence Thomas won't have any of it. He's so used to white Southern Democrats telling blacks what to do and putting them in their place that it just doesn't work on him. Back to Newsmax. Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, has been target of the left for decades, but that targeting has intensified of late and is now exposed as part of a broader effort to intimidate the Supreme Court ahead of the 2024 Trump docket. Watch Congressman Jamie Raskin levies a barely veiled threat against Clarence Thomas should he fail to recuse himself from the Trump docket, as aired on CNN State of the Union on Sunday, December 31st. Now, this does give you the Democrats' plan, which is that they do believe that this is going to the Supreme Court. They also do believe Trump is going to win. They're admitting it. That's why they're saying Thomas has to recuse himself because we're going to lose. It's disgusting to think of what they would do to win. Would they do this to win? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Doug in Exile.